that I think gets overlooked quite a bit, unfortunately, in yoga, and it's called bandhas. And what is a bandha? Well, a bandha is like an internal lock, and it can be a really nice complement or addition to your breathing practice or pranayama. There's a few of them, more than a few, but we'll cover sort of like the three basic ones today, and then in a separate video we'll explore combining all three. So this will be a two-part series. Hopefully you come back, see the second part. But it's very, very good for massaging the internal organs, getting a lot more energy and depth out of your breathing practice. The benefits are numerous. So it's worth interest, a very interesting practice. And so we'll first start off with what's called the throat lock. But before we do that, let's discuss seating. One of my favorite positions, and particularly for this sequence, is either lotus pose, if your hips are up for it, or thunderbolt here, like I am with the knees on the edge of the mat, my toes in the back. Make sure your feet are, and your toes are completely there. Now, what I suggest is making an adaptation with a yoga block for gracious pose. So, meaning keeping the big toes touching, just separating the knees here. You take the yoga brick or block, and just slide it underneath like a bicycle seat. And you have it there, and you get a really nice straight vertical spine, perfect position for breath work and alignment. Now if you find it's a little bit difficult to get all the way sat down on your heels like this, you can take a second block and go on a higher setting, so to speak, sliding two underneath. Just make sure you're there right on the center point of the spine, and you'll be a little bit more elevated, but still a nice contact with the mat and the floor, and fantastic for pranayama practice. I'll just go with one brick here myself for now, so leave that one to the side. And we'll start here with just a gentle opening to the whole sequence here, just a gentle breath work. So close your eyes with some breath awareness, forefinger and thumbs together, roll the shoulders back, palms are on top of the knees. All the breathing through the nose, and then just deep inhale and exhale here. Hand is on the abdomen. Check wardrobe. Hand is on the abdomen. And 5 long breaths here. Just feeling a gentle contraction, expansion with each breath. And there. Noting the rising and falling changes with each breath. Okay. And from here, we'll go for the Janhara Bandha, or the throat lock. Now, the idea behind this is you're tucking your neck, your chin down, and blocking the carotid arteries here. So what does this do? It actually helps you go for an extended period of time on the retention of breath on the exhale. So to get into this one, you want to inhale through your nose. And ideally, to get all of the air out and really make a tight lock, depending on the practice you're doing, you either breathe out through your mouth or your nose. We'll do the mouth version here. So inhale. Then exhale through the mouth, really getting all the air out. Once all the air is out, your abdomen is flat, just drop the chin down as far as you can without forcing or straining. And then your hands are on your knees, straighten the arms, hunch the shoulders a little bit, and then tuck the chin down even a bit further. And this is your throat lock. Make a retention of breath here for 10 Om. 9 Om, 8 Om, 7 Om, 6 Om, 5 Om, 4 Om, 3 Om, 2 Om, 1 Om. And then release, bend the elbows, and inhale breath through the nose. So that's the throat lock. It's just a matter of practice and obviously getting comfortable with where your count is, how long you want to hold on the retention of breath. And again, this is not for retention of breath on the inhale, it's only for the exhale, ideally. So we'll do it one more time. So again, inhale through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Dropping the chin, straightening the arms, hunching the shoulder, pushing the chin down a little bit further. And 10 on, 9 on, 8 on, 7 on, 6 on, 5 on, 4 on, 3 on, 2 on, 1 on. Then release, bend the elbows, and lift your chin. So that's the throat lock. Very simplified version, but I think it's accessible to everybody doing it this way. Now, again, you can add this into your normal pranayama practice whenever you have a retention on the exhale, and it's a nice way to stay there a little bit longer, and it's just about really practicing this yourself, getting comfortable with it. Next one is the stomach lock, or Uddiyana, and this one's a little bit, well, I would say almost necessary to do with the throat lock. It just, they tie together so closely, so that's why I do it in this order: throat lock first, then the stomach lock. Because the stomach lock, the Uddiyana, happens, or best occurs, when your chin is down. Because you can pull the diaphragm up, make a belly roll and tuck upwards, and then you do a second gulp of false air, if you like. And so it's a double pull on the stomach, and it really gets the core super, super tight. And this way you're completely engaged there for the retention of breath. Ties in now to the final lock as well, the Muladhara, that we're going to go to in a minute. But so we'll combine these, and again, just go through it slowly. Doesn't matter if you go for a full 10, but just get used to it. And so again, your hands are here on your knees. Inhale breath. Exhale through the mouth. Chin lock, punch your shoulders a bit, and then start doing your internal movement on the stomach, flipping up the stomach, tucking it, and then a second tuck, false gulp of air, so you're really tight there, then retention of breath again. 10 ohm, 9 ohm, 8 ohm, 7 ohm, 6 ohm, 5 ohm, 4 ohm, 3 ohm, 2 ohm, 1 ohm. And bend the elbows, release, lift the chin, deep inhale breath through the nose. There we go, we've got the throat lock and the stomach lock. So the Jalandhara and the Uddiyana. Now we'll do it one more time, just have the sequence down for sure. So inhale breath through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Dropping the chin down, punching the shoulders, straighten the arms, belly tuck, false gulp of air, really get the core tight, hold it there, retention of breath, 10 ohm, 9 ohm, 8 ohm, 7 ohm, 6 ohm, 5 ohm, 4 ohm, 3 ohm, 2 ohm, 1 ohm, and release. Put it back down. Okay, so now cover the final bandha here, the Muladhara. And this one's a little bit easier to say than to do, shall we say. Explaining it is one thing, practicing it is another. So be patient with yourself if this is your first time giving it a go. It's really developing some more internal awareness and practice. So this one, you can do it by itself, alone. I think that's the easiest way to start off on this one. The next video I'll show you the next step of combining the bandhas, but for now just by itself. So the idea is here, after your exhale breath, you do again with the exhale through the mouth. Once you're completely tight there, then you want to focus your area to that muscle where you can actually stop the pee, or some people call it the male kegel, or the female kegel, perineal muscle. So various terms, but it's that muscle right between reproductive organ and the bum. So this is where you want to be pulsing or holding, making like a fixed muscle, tight, shall we say. So you can do that, and this is best on the retention of breath again. So with this retention, either with this perineal muscle be pulsing, perhaps with a count, or just making a tight lock and really squeezing it, and that works too. Whatever is more comfortable for you, I highly encourage practicing with this, using just time and like patience and getting used to the whole thing of synchronizing it. So we'll do one here. It's not very visual obviously, but we'll take a deep inhale breath through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Make sure all the air is out, and then just send your focus down there, and you can either pulse or contract. Let's say 10 times, retention at 10. So 10 ohm, 9 ohm, 8 ohm, 7 ohm, 6 ohm, 5 ohm, 4 ohm, 3 ohm, 2 ohm, 1 ohm. It's also sometimes useful if you're not feeling quite connected. If you're set on the yoga brick here, this is a very advantageous posture because you can put maybe a small cushion or a sock or even just the yoga brick correctly placed so you can feel the contact of the pulse there. So that is also sometimes an assistance for people just starting out and getting comfortable with this practice. So again, Mula Bandha, and now we go for one more time. So inhale through the nose, deep inhale, exhale through the mouth, and then focus your energy there, just the very, very base root chakra at the perineal muscle, and either contracting or holding it there for 10 ohm, 9 ohm, 8 ohm, 7 ohm, 6 ohm, 5 ohm, 4 ohm, 3 ohm, 2 ohm, 1 ohm. Open your eyes, inhale, and release. So that's it. We've done all 3 locks I wanted to cover with you today, or bandhas, and hopefully that explains a little bit more the technique for each one and the proper use. So what we'll do is either tomorrow or the next day, probably the next day, I'll have another video up on the schedule for combining all 3 of these locks or bandhas, which is a very powerful practice. It can rejuvenate the body entirely, even offset some diseases, and shall we say, create a bit of a reset for the body. So thank you very much for joining, and if you haven't already, please join or subscribe to the Michael Sands Yoga, Meditation, Skateboard, and CrossFit channel. A little bit of everything. Hope to see you again here soon. Have a great day. Namaste.